Hey, welcome everybody. Happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. I hope everyone is doing amazing on this beautiful Friday, wherever y'all are. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're ending your work week strong, getting ready for a fun weekend. But yeah, thank you for joining me as always for another episode of the Jayson Estrera Show, where we talk about basketball, sports, and any other topic that comes our way as accurate as possible. As always, it's your host, your boy, Jayson Estrera. Now, for today, we had game one of the NBA Finals last night, and we have a lot to talk about because the Boston Celtics won easily to take a 1-0 series lead against the Dallas Mavericks. They steamrolled them boys, man. It was not even close. So we're going to get into that. But first, let's start with a little bit of WNBA basketball because Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky played against the Washington Mystics last night and won 79-71. Now, Angel Reese had herself 16 points with 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 steals. What a game. She went 5 of 17 from the field, which obviously isn't great, but 6 of 8 from the free throw line. So she's being really, really aggressive, which you love to see. And on the other side, we saw Kennedy Carter get 25 points, went 10 of 17 from the field, 5 of 5 from the line, and had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, to go along with her 25 points. For the Washington Mystics, we saw Aaliyah Edwards get 23 points, go 10 of 12 from the field, 3 of 3 from the line, 14 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 4 block shots. So let's take a look at how this game turned out for... Let's see how this game turned out for the Chicago Sky.
And Eric Thibault told us. And Eric Thibault told us that we can't turn the ball over and have empty possessions.
Hitting so that they can get out and recover.
This is loud.
Mabry. That jumper opening quarter. Capital One Arena. Dolson the 3. She gets
End of game situations.
Melvin got around the defenders. Evans now to Shields. The Shields attacking Melvin. Kiss off the glass. Luke quickly up the floor with the pass. Walker Kimbrough off the pump fake.
What a move.
Got the base.
The defensive end as well.
Here's Reese. Off the jab
Nice
step.
shot.
That's
The teammates credit them for finding her in viable positions to finish. Got the block to that midi game or right there with Ariel Atkins doing the same.
Count the Carter goes to Reese. Count the bucket. Here's Dolson, met immediately by Harrison. Goes to Edwards. Count. And Chicago will dribble this one out.
So, you know, the Chicago Sky obviously take that victory. And, you know, like I said, Angel Reese had herself a strong game. Their team situation helps a lot because you have someone like Kennedy Carter who's an aggressive scorer on the team, and she's able to score in one-on-one situations, pick and rolls, score in the mid-range. She's a consistent offensive threat for this team, so it allows someone like Angel Reese to really take her time in developing, right? The jump shot, the mid-range shot that she took, you know, her form looks solid. The jab step looked good, right? It's like a little mellow jab step. jab, pull it. I will say on the block though, she just goes up with it. And right here, you want to see her take her time, get that ball ripped through. 1 pound dribble to the right because the player to her left is a lot smaller than her. 1 pound dribble to her right, and now she can go up with her left, or she can go up with her right off the backboard. But instead, she tries to bump them and shoot at the same time. And when you do that, you're going to have a hard time. And it's a similar situation here, right? She's jabbing with her feet like this, right? So you'd want to see her kind of switch that up, but she gets in the lane, and like I said, instead of bumping and then getting the shot up, she almost tries to do it in one motion. And like I said, for the form that she has, the fact that she's able to go and get buckets still, I think is a testament to her touch. The fact that she does have skills, she has a great feel for the game, timing. Like, there's a lot of real positive things about her. It's just mechanically, I think she could do a little bit better. But yeah, strong win for the Chicago Sky. Now, to kind of talk more about Angel Reese, they are currently 4-5 right now. And they just beat up on the worst team in the WNBA. The Washington Mystics are currently 0-10. They are yet to get a win this year. Everyone was going on and on about Caitlin Clark, and meanwhile, the Washington Mystics are yet to get a victory. So Angel Reese got up a lot of shots. I don't know if that was just, if that was intentional or it was just happened by chance. And I say that meaning maybe she had more of a green light going against the worst team in the WNBA. And so she's out there able to try more things. Granted, she's been pretty aggressive getting, double-digit shots up in a lot of these games, which is great. But like I said, she also has the ability to fall back on someone like a Kennedy Carter, someone like a Mabry. What's her first name? Is it Marina? Yeah, Marina Mabry. Who could shoot the shit out of the ball. So they have other players, and it gives Angel Reese time and the space to be able to develop her game. And hopefully they're taking advantage of it and, really focusing on developing her, because like I said, you see flashes. Her athleticism is great. Obviously she has a touch on the basketball close to the rim, and she also has a little bit of a jump shot. So there's a lot of great things to work with, and she's been able to put up numbers without being so mechanically sharp, right? And so I think that's actually scary, if you think about it, right? She's going to get better. It's only a matter of time. So looking forward to how she develops, how they develop her, and what that could look like in the next couple of years. Now, the NBA Finals, Game 1 was last night. And to me, it makes sense as to why there's all of a sudden no news, no more breaking stories, because like I've been saying all week, a lot of those stories were just to fill in the gap. It's like a filler episode. That's exactly what it was. We had a bunch of filler episodes because we just had, the conference finals, which is like a huge arc in an anime, for example, right? And now you get the filler episodes where it's just some bullshit. Some of it's true, some of it's canon, some of it isn't canon. It's just, that's what I think a little bit of the what is it? Dan Hurley, the UConn's coach with the Lakers, JJ Redick, all the Kevin Durant shit, Steph Curry. All of those stories this week have just been to fill up time. And now that the game is here and the series is here, this is what we got to talk about. So last night we saw the Dallas Mavericks take a beating against the Boston Celtics, and it was not even close. Honestly, 107 89. I almost said 98, bro. But 107-89, and it really wasn't close all game. And it starts with Kristaps Porzingis. Hasn't played in like 30 days, missed 10 games. And he had a massive 20 points. 8 of 13 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 2 of 2 from the line, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. I mean, he was spectacular. Jaylen Brown led the Boston Celtics in scoring with 22 points, 7 of 12 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 6 of 11 from the line. And had 6 rebounds, 2 assists with 3 steals, 3 blocks. Like, dude was all over the place. Jason Tatum, 16 points, 6 of 16 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, only 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and had a block as well. So let's quickly take a look at how this game turned out.
A part of it is literally the highlight of my career. Horford with Jaylen Brown starting on Luka Doncic. Doncic, his first shot. Kyrie Irving drives, pulls up, shot.
Wow.
It's good. Softens the title. So much of the discussion around Jayson Tatum is whether or not his jump shot goes in. Things on the basketball floor at an elite level. He's not defined by his jump shot. Porzingis guarded by Harvey. Leans in, Harvey. Josh Green is on Tatum, now picked up by Gafford. Tatum contested 3 is big. Here comes Josh Green, one man to beat, but it's a Butter who blocks it.
God damn.
Green pushing Porzingis, trying to play him physical. Another jump shot, another bucket.
Double team, unexpectedly, because that's when Boston's so dangerous.
Brown on the steal and slam. And Dallas right now going to his zone. Tatum, a contested 3. It's competitive sweep if there is such a thing. Pacers give them all they can handle in most of the games. Tatum on the spectacular rebounder. He's got Horford on him. Step back shot blocked by Horford. Irving. Oh, nice move inside. Banks it home. Well, they've missed their last 6. Doncic tries another 3. Got it. Heard the boos, but it wasn't as loud as you'd expect. Doncic gets inside. Team from the field. Doncic double stolen by White.
What a steal.
White right with Jones. Lays it.
Success won a lot of games in the playoffs, but as Jason said, we only had
He probably traveled right there.
And in these playoffs, they're 13-2. A great team effort.
All right, so, we just saw right there the Dallas Mavericks got dismantled pretty much by the Boston Celtics. And, obviously the initial reaction is that first quarter. It was a what the fuck first quarter because the Boston Celtics were in the lead 37-20 to end the first quarter. Kristaps Porzingis had 11 points, went 4 of 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, 2 of 2 from the line with 3 rebounds and 2 blocks. And we saw that massive block on the fast break. I was saying it last night. The start that he had, he could have not scored another point. But the energy that he provided for his team, it was enough to win that game, in my opinion. Whether he played well the rest of the game or not, and he came back and he still went and knocked down some shots, got some more rebounds. But for the most part, that in my opinion was the start that really did it. And then there was a stretch in the third quarter because, as you'd expect, basketball is a game of runs, and nope, my shit just froze for a second. What happened? And we saw Dallas make a little bit of a run. They cut it to like 8 points, I think. And then Boston did a great job of making their run and eventually pushed it to 16 and then eventually got it back up to 20. And that was really the difference in the game, was that, those two instances, right? The first and the third is really is what determined game one, right? And, obviously we all saw it, but how did Boston do that? And for me, you could talk about, the Kristaps Porzingis start, but I think what's more telling is the way that they, I don't even think I have it anymore. It's the way that they defended Luka, right? So this is even on a make. I was talking about, do you double Luka? Do you leave him in single coverage? Do you late double early? Like what do you do? And the short answer is there isn't one thing that you could do. However, if you have capable defenders, two of them have great size in Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, there are times where you can live with Luka taking a tough shot, right? They've already burned most of the shot clock. Luka's dribble. Now, a lot of times we saw in the Minnesota series, this is Rudy Gobert, this is Karl Anthony Towns, this could be anybody. And we saw them, once you see Luka do this, once you see he's about to pick up the ball, you see them, they call it dig. And they'll dig, or they'll full help, and they'll fully get over here. They'll line up shoulder to shoulder with Jaylen Brown. And that's all Derrick Jones Jr. is looking for. And so now when Luka goes up like this, like he's doing right now, because you can see Derrick Jones is waiting on it, right? He's waiting on it. Al Horford is aware of it. Instead of Luka getting that pass for a free dunk, and granted it's early in the game, but those dunks are so important because similar to what Porzingis did, the dunks for the Dallas Mavericks injects energy into their team, right? Those big, massive, powerful dunks. Then they start to get to flexing and everybody starts screaming and shit. Like, it does something. It provides energy for them. That's away from Luka as ISO, Kyrie just being amazing. It gives these guys energy and confidence. And when Boston is taking that away, like, yeah, he makes that, but you can, if he's going to settle for that shot more often than not, then you would prefer that, right? This shot right here on a fast break, right? And this is a 2-on-3, so they don't even have an advantage here. And I'm assuming that the way the Boston Celtics were playing defense, Kyrie understood that he needed to try to get shots up early and getting an opportunity like this where you have a Derek White on his heels and an Al Horford on his heels to try to get a shot up. And I don't know if you could see it here, but there was one that they actually blocked it and he still made the fucking shot. But yeah, Kyrie is just spectacular. Here, he hits the shot, but again, not allowing, because this is the key right here, right? He wants to make this pass, but Hauser is sitting in this pocket. He's doing a great job of splitting the difference, meaning the Boston Celtics have discussed these concepts, right? Where instead of this being an easy decision and an easy pass, because typically what we've seen before is the guy will be hugged up tight over here, right? Realistically, he needs to slide over a little bit to probably around here, to create that spacing. And then Luka probably has this pass, but because of that, he splits the difference right here. He understands it, forces Luka into the shot again, not getting his teammates involved. Luka at the end of this only had, what is this? Oh, I didn't even talk about his performance, but Luka at the end of the game ended up with, let me see. He had 30 points, went 12 of 26 from the field, 4 of 12 from 3, 2 of 5 from the line with 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and 4 turnovers, and only had 1 assist. Great game plan by Boston, right? Kristaps was hot and they were isolating him. When they were doing the pick and roll, they were switching it, so he was just isolating the smaller defender and he got off. However, even if he wasn't hot, the way Boston plays, I would have expected them to still execute on those plays and get good shots. So not that they would have won the same or as easily, but I still think Boston would have won this because they went into game one with a great game plan, right? And for me, it's something that they could repeat, right? The defense that they played on Luka. Now, I don't think they're going to play him exactly the same way in game 2. I think we might see the Boston Celtics blitz him early, right? And then in the middle of it, play straight up again, similar to how they were doing in game 1. Because here's the thing, right? Luka is similar to Jokic in the sense of they can score and they can get rebounds. Throughout history, right, we've seen all of the best players be able to get, or a lot of the best players be able to get points and rebounds consistently, right? Like Michael was consistently at like 6-7 rebounds a game with his 30 points. LeBron obviously is 28 and 7 for his career. We've seen this, right? Tatum, we're seeing 30 and 10 in the conference finals, 26 and 10 for the playoffs. The thing that makes Luka and Jokic, even for centers, right? We've seen Shaq 28 and 12, 30, whatever Wilt was averaging, right? The thing that separates them and the thing that you then have to match is their assists. Because a lot of the star players, they'll average anywhere from 4 to 6 assists. LeBron is the anomaly because he averages like 7-8 for the amount that he scores, right? And I think a part of the concept when it comes to defending Luka is He's a great player. No one takes that away from him. But if we can take away the assists a little bit, he becomes more of a regular player, a regular superstar player that we've seen before. And when that's the case, it's up to your star players to now match his points and rebounds, which Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown can do. And I think that went a long way. That simple concept, I kept saying they have to match their production. They have to match their production. They have to match their production. Well, you can't take everything away from Luka. Rebounds is damn near a given right now. His points, he's going to find a way to get to 25 to 30 points. Let's try to take away his assists. And we've seen that work. We saw that work in the Minnesota Timberwolves series against the Denver Nuggets. We saw how it looked. Nikola Jokic, arguably the best player in the world, has the similar thing where he gets his points and rebounds. The thing that puts him over the top is the assists. If you limit that, you can match 30 and 12. As hard as that is, it's a lot more doable than 30, 12, and 12. You know what I'm saying? And, some of the stuff that I brought up the other day, meeting Luke at the rim on the pick and roll instead of just giving it up right away. Even though he made baskets, everything was always difficult. Everything he had to go put a bunch of dribble moves on. And I just saw earlier, Arenas and them were talking about, Gilbert Arenas and them were talking about how it's not like matchup hunting. It's not a huge thing. However, I beg to differ, because someone like Luka, who has the ball so much on offense, his usage rate is probably through the roof. He doesn't get to rest as much on offense. His time to rest is on defense. And now, instead of being able to rest, he has to move his feet, play defense, contest, run out. It's more than he's been doing. It's more than he's been used to, and that's why I think it's working. Tired leg settles for more 3-point shots, right? And Boston was able to just kind of pull that out. So, I just wanted to, again, Kristaps Porzingis was phenomenal. What he does great is, as the 7-footer, if the Dallas Mavericks play drop coverage on a pick and roll with Tatum and Porzingis, or White and Porzingis, whoever it is, if they play him in a drop, he just spaces out to the 3-point line and he's wide open. And 9 out of 10 times he's going to take that shot, unless someone rotates to him. And if you pre-rotate to him, then someone else is going to be open and he's going to make that pass. Now, their other solution to that, meaning Dallas, was to switch it. When he sets the pick, they'll just switch it. So he'll end up with a smaller guy on him. And what they did last night was they kept throwing it in the mid-post. And like I was saying yesterday, he's been one of the most efficient players from there, because he's so much taller than everyone else. He gets a shot up, and it's a solid shot. I mean, some of those shots are far, but when you got a guy who's comfortable shooting from 30 feet and he gets to shoot from 15 to 18 feet, that's much, much easier for someone like that. And aside from that, he was out there playing some fucking defense, getting blocks, moving his feet. He did way more than what we expected out of him. And It makes me wonder how severe his injury was. Was it a situation where they were so confident they could make it to the NBA Finals without him that they told him to just sit out? Maybe he was actually running at the time and training in private, because for a calf injury, the way he was moving, it just, I don't know. He looked great out there. Because what I want to say is you're not going to get another game like this out of him. I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't think you get another game like this out of him, especially if that calf injury is what they say it is. Excuse me. Because granted, they have, days in between, so he could try to rest it, but it's just putting more pressure on it, and it's just extended rest is what you need on these calf injuries, and he just doesn't have that luxury. Now, with that being said, on offense, I think he could still give you something. He could still be a threat that keeps the defense honest. Meaning, if they played the drop and he spaces out to the three, whether he makes it or misses it, you have to defend it. So, whether someone has to rotate out to him, you force the defense to scramble. Even if he doesn't shoot it great, he forces a reaction out of the defense. So he's still useful in that sense. If they switch it, even if he don't really have legs, we saw some of those shots that he took in the mid-range in the post. He was barely jumping anyway. So those shots he could still hit those, and they would still be good shots, even if they're not necessarily going in. The problem will be on defense, because if he starts showing like he's not moving that well side to side, he's not really, his speed slows down. Now it becomes an issue, because now on defense, you're going to look for Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving to really exploit him and really test that calf. We were able to see him play some good defense in spurts last night, but to see it consistently moving forward, I don't know if we could expect that out of him. But like I said, he played a great game. He's done his job, in the sense of he was able to push you guys over the top to win a game, right? So now it's up to Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the rest of those guys to be the leading factor in winning 3 more games, which I think they could do. And they'll have Kristaps as more of a decoy, more of a threat, as opposed to an actual scoring option. So, we'll see how healthy he is moving forward. If he's moving and shit the same game 2, well, then I fucked up, and this is probably going to be a 5-game series. But we have to wait and see. Like I've been saying over the last couple weeks, you have to show me. Until I see it, I will not believe it. And we saw a little bit of it last night. We got to see it in game 2. However, for the Celtics moving forward, what's the takeaway from last night? So you guys win big. Jayson Tatum didn't play particularly well shooting the ball. He didn't get to the free throw line like he's been doing. But I will say this: every time he attacked, he drew 2 or 3 players on him. Every time he put the ball on the floor. So it might be one of those series where, and I said it in round 1. If they make it to the finals, we could end up in a situation where Jayson Tatum doesn't even get the finals MVP. And we saw a little bit of it last night. Jayson Tatum is the one that demands double teams when he attacks, he always draws 2 to 3 eyes on him, and he's been making the right play of getting the ball out to those guys, which leads to isolation plays by Jaylen Brown, isolation for Derek White and Drew Holiday. He's the engine that really lets this offense run, and I don't see that changing because Tatum has been playing in this mode for pretty much the entire playoffs. He still got his rebounds last night, which was good. He didn't get to the free throw line as often as he's been doing last night, but hopefully he can try to find his way to the free throw line moving forward. The other thing that I did notice was Jaylen Brown was kind of playing with the ball a little bit last night. And recently he's just been kind of jab, step, attack, drop, dribble, 2 dribble, spin. Like he's been direct and to the point with his moves, with his shots. If not, he just kicks it out and they just keep it moving. And last night he was playing a little bit with the ball, so hopefully he tightens it up because that's how he's been playing. Maybe it was just the first game jitters of the finals, but he was definitely trying to get a little saucy with the basketball, and I don't know if I like that moving forward. So hopefully they cut that shit out. Or hopefully he cuts that shit out. Excuse me. Now, in terms of the defense for the Boston Celtics, guarding Luka and Kyrie, like I said, they're going to have to mix it up. So last night we saw Luka kind of getting off. I think we're going to see them try to blitz him a little bit more in game 2. Get the ball out of his hands. Force the bigs to try to make plays. But you also run the risk of potentially letting Kyrie Irving get loose, right? So that's the issue that you run into. So they'll have to read the situation. They'll have to read the flow of the game and what defense they're going to need to run, which I thought that they were doing a great job, which leads me to the details. There are so many little details, little nuances to the game that I notice, that other players notice, that when you get to the playoffs, you see the best teams, they have all these little tricks, right? So, for example, the way they've been playing Luka, like I said, it's not consistent. It's not a pattern, right? So early on, we saw them kind of we saw Jaylen Brown, he put his hand behind his back when Luka would drive in and shoulder him, knowing that Luka, similar to Harden, he would stick his arm out looking for that foul because players, instead of staying straight up, their hand will go down, and so you could rip through and get a foul called. And we saw them doing a great job of, 1, staying on their feet, but 2, not having their arms out in a vulnerable position for Luka to draw the foul. Now, as the game was going on, we saw Luka adjusted. Instead of making contact just to look for the foul, we saw Luka more so looking to make that shot because he started to realize that, 1, they weren't calling it, and 2, that the Boston Celtics are essentially giving him the shot, right? They're bracing for the contact, but they're not trying to foul him. And so what did Boston do? They adjusted. Instead of having hands down, now we started to see 2 players come up on him on drives, right? 2 guys would then have hands up and contest. And even though he got some foul calls and some shots, that mind game, right? That mind game that they now play with Luka. So now when Luka is going into the basket, he has to think, okay, is this guy gonna bait me into a shot? Can I draw the foul? Is the other guy coming over? Is that guy going to contest? Like, and what we're seeing is a guy that is now thinking about that contact that he's so used to rather than looking for the open guy. There was a couple times where we saw, a pass that he could have made to PJ Washington. Granted, it would have been a hard pass, and he was just going and looking for the shot, right? So that mental game has already started with Luka. Late in the game, I don't know if anyone noticed this, but there was it was at like the 3:30 mark. Let me see. Where was it? Yeah, I think it was around like the 3:30 mark. Yeah, in the 3:30 mark of the fourth. Right? It was around the 3:30 mark. Now, obviously the game was already over. But the little detail of Dallas had just scored, so it's a dead ball situation. The shot clock is not running, but the game clock is running. And just the little detail of Boston not picking up the ball and throwing the ball at the referee. You see Peyton Pritchard, who's obviously not Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, a role player that understands to do this, to just ignore the ball. He's literally, the ball's right next to him. He's calling hey, you go this way, to kill time. They killed probably 5 to 7 seconds off of the game clock before they even inbounded the ball. Now, I've seen Jason Tatum has done this earlier against Cleveland. I don't know. I think he may have done this against, we've seen him do this before. Nikola Jokic has done this, right? In the Minnesota series, we say he fucking kicked he just looks doofy. But it's intentional. Oh shit, I fumbled the basketball. Oh fuck. Oh, or we'll see like the player, right? I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this. They'll be right next to the referee, and then the referee will hand them the ball and they'll like fumble it or some shit, or like they just won't even catch it and the ball falls down, and then the referee got to go get the ball. All of these little details are simply tools that these players use to kill time. See, most people think that when they roll the ball on the inbound and no one touches it is the only way that players kill time. Well, that too is a way that players kill time. I don't know if you guys remember, but in the New York Knicks series against the Indiana Pacers, there was, I think it was game 6. It was game 6 or game 7. There was a scenario where Pascal Siakam, who doesn't get into it with anyone, all of a sudden started to get into it. I don't remember if it was Dante or whatnot, but they were just yapping. Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I think Boston has hung their hat on execution. And when you're a team that hangs your hat on execution and not so much the emotions of the game, even though we know they're there, those teams, I think, end up being successful. Elijah, what's up? How you doing, bro? But yeah, so Siakam, he was getting into it with the Knicks. And in that moment, if you paid attention, it was literally him buying time for the coaching staff and the coach to decide if they were going to challenge the play or not. Just all these little details that we see, man. And this is like, we see veteran players be real veteran players in the playoffs. Earlier we saw Kyle Lowry against the Knicks too. Jalen Brunson fell on the floor, and instead of going around him, because Kyle Lowry had the ball, he steps over him and he sees him. He steps over and trips over him on purpose and puts a shot up. Shooting foul, 3 free throws. So many little things that we've seen all of these players do, man, and it's I just I just want to highlight it because, like I said, there's a lot of little things that these guys do really well. Like when TJ McConnell comes in the game, right? TJ McConnell, he's not the best player in the world although he does have great attributes. I think TJ McConnell's really, really good. You could tell he irritated the shit out of Brunson every time they got on the floor. You could tell. You could tell. Brunson would get like he would see him and he would be like, "Yo, fuck this guy." And it's just those little things, right? When teams are so even, these little things are sometimes what can put you over the top, right? We saw, I noticed it last night. Like every time Kyrie Irving talks to a referee, he has the biggest smile on his face. And I don't think it's by accident. I think it's because he wants to get a better reaction and have an actual conversation with the referee. And if you're yelling at them, cursing them out, that's not going to work. You add on top of that the fact that his teammate, Luka, is always yelling at the referee. Now imagine he's doing the same thing. So all these little details, the game within a game, are some of the things that I love to personally pay attention to, because I think it makes it fun. Shooting a basketball and dribbling a basketball and all that stuff is cool. Strategies are cool, but some of these little details where they're trying to get an edge up on other players, I think is really fun to pay attention to. So that was just some of the ones that I have noticed. Maybe I'll when I'm editing this, I'll find some of those clips if I can. But moving on to the Dallas Mavericks, and what the hell went wrong for the Dallas Mavericks last night? We've already discussed a lot of it, and I kept saying it during the game last night. A part of the issue that they had was they were simply missing shots. PJ had missed a couple shots. Kyrie had missed a couple threes. Now, would it have completely changed the game? We don't know that. But sometimes you make shots, sometimes you miss shots. As a team, they went... Fuck did they go? They went 12... No, that's their threes. They went 7 of 27 from 3. Meanwhile, the Boston Celtics went 16 for 42. And... you're going to lose that game. And so sometimes it just comes down to making and missing shots. However, much deeper than that is, and I'm about to get into this because I think it's the next thing on the topic, and it's the defense that the Boston Celtics had played on Kyrie Irving. The story going into this series has been Luka. And obviously, the Boston Celtics have paid attention to that. But clearly, they haven't forgotten about Kyrie Irving, the NBA champion Kyrie Irving. And they made everything very hard on him. Every shot that he took was a tough fadeaway, and it gets a bunch of the oohs and the ahs. But if you think about what he's doing to get one shot off, you're like, God damn, this motherfucker is out there working. And when he got to the rim, and listen, I get it. He's the greatest finisher. He's one of the greatest finisher under the rim. Blase, 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 blah. But when it comes to it, he's a 6'3", 6'4" point guard. And when you're meeting him at the rim with resistance from guys that are 6'7" and up, they're going to make the shots difficult. Is he going to make some? Absolutely. That's what he does. But all you could do, and this is, everybody was making fun of it because Drew Holiday said you just pray, right? That's all you can really do, is you do your work early, try to prevent him from getting the ball. When he does, try to beat him to a spot, and when he gets a shot up, you just contest, and you literally just hope he misses it. And they were doing a great job of trying to stay in front of him. Everybody's been talking about Luka, but clearly they have also got their game plan down for Kyrie Irving. They were forcing him to stick to open threes. And I guess that sounds kind of crazy, but when you think about taking away his dribble drive ability, where he gets to get his rhythm with his dribble, he gets to get into the mid-range, and obviously he hits some, but you also take away his playmaking ability. Now you just have to deal with his points. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I feel you on that, Elijah, for sure. Yep. And I think like I gave Luka this credit in the playoffs, right? Just to get on, because of what you had just mentioned, Elijah. He, credit to Luka in the middle of the OKC series, he made a switch. So kudos to him on understanding what was going on in real time, reading the room, that one, no matter how much he complains, they're not going to change the call. Right? So there really is no point in arguing. If we're being honest, there is no point in arguing. You can speak to them when there's a dead ball, but arguing during a play is absolutely pointless because they can't change it. And I think he also realized that maybe someone had spoken to him that, like, listen, bro, like, they're not giving you calls as it is. And if you're calling them stupid, if you're calling them bitch, if you're calling them every name under the sun, what do you think they're going to do? And he adjusted, and he's played a lot better since. And now, to your point earlier, Elijah, how strong is his mental? Because Boston is going to make every shot tough. You're not going to get the same calls that you've been getting. These guys are defensive players, and what happens when players are considered defensive players is the referee tends to let a little bit more physicality go. And if they're going to let a little bit more of it go, how will Luka react to that? And on top of that, yeah, he's getting his points, he's scoring, everything is difficult, everything is physical, but now they take away his playmaking ability. Now picture this, and this is why I keep saying they might double him early in game 2. Imagine off of a tip-off, right? Imagine they throw 2 people at him off tip-off damn near. He's going to be checked out damn near mentally. He's gonna be like, oh, fuck, man. He's going to be looking around like, oh, fuck, he gonna pass the ball. He going to walk over to the right wing. He's going to be looking around like, God damn it, this is going to be a long-ass fucking game. And that's what you got to do to him. Right? You have it's these little things that could get you an advantage on him, because if you really think about what Luka does, he excels at the little things as well too. Right? If you give him an inch, he's gonna take a mile. And he's really good at that, right? Of taking advantage of these little openings. And to go back to Kyrie Irving does the same thing. He does a great job of taking advantage of little openings. That's why on some of those shots that he hit last night that looked damn near impossible, that's what he was doing. He was trying to will himself into a rhythm. It just wasn't working. Now, the Boston Celtics were trying their best to not give him any room. And I think it's because Boston understands that Kyrie understands he's more of the second option. And Kyrie, for most of his career, even when he was younger, has always made the right play. That's why he was never a 30-point per game scorer. Because the reality about a 30 plus point per game scorer is you're going to have to take bad shots sometimes to get to that point, to average those points. It's just the reality of it, right? You gotta hog the ball sometimes to score that many times. And for as great as Kyrie is, he's never been a ball hog. Never. And if you cut off all of his options, he's going to pass the ball out and play basketball. And that's all Boston's been doing. And when he did take shots, it was tough shots, and I think Boston can live with that. Even if he hits a couple of them, if he gets 30 points on tough shots, you fucking shake his hand and move on to the next game. And it is what it is. So yeah, that's really that's how that shit broke down, man. Like I said, Boston has just made everything difficult for Kyrie Irving, and he was just going through it. So moving forward, what adjustments can the Dallas Mavericks make? And for me, I don't know if, let me see. I don't know I don't know how many adjustments that the Dallas Mavericks can make. And I say that because, let me see if I can open this here. Oh, that's what it's making me do. Okay, shit. Here, I'll do it like this. And the reason I say that is because for the most part, they've played one way. And it's ISO heavy. It's relying on Luka. And what happens at the end of it is you can't really throw a whole new offense in the middle of all of this. That's not how it works. And when you, here, I'll be in the same spot. I'll mute it. And this is from earlier in the year, right? This is from earlier in the year. This is my video from the other day. And this is kind of what they were doing. Let me see. This is now something like this is what I expect the Dallas Mavericks to do more of, is action like this, where if they're gonna play this like this, if they're gonna play the pick and roll the way that they've been playing, look for Luka to come out of it and just pass the ball out to force the defense to move and then get the ball back. And then they'll probably run another pick and roll like in this scenario. I don't think Boston will probably come that high because the way that they've been playing it. Right? So for example, like if you see, who would this player be? Let's say it's Porzingis or let's say it's Tatum, and they kind of just stay right here. Luka will probably pass that ball off, trying to get some kind of a reaction out of them, and then come back out and get a repick going left, or just some shit like that, right? Is this the other one? Is this the other one where he throws it ahead to him? Where's the one where he fucking throws it ahead to him? Maybe I don't have it actually, but anyway, I think they're going to have to try to get Luka off of the ball a little bit more, is going to be the key for the Dallas Mavericks. Because right now right now Boston has a blueprint on how to slow down this pick and roll style heavy offense that the Dallas Mavericks have. And you need to now add a different fold into that, where you're forcing movement from the Boston Celtics' defense before Luka initiates the pick and roll. Because what's happening is Luka's bringing the ball up to the half court. Lively's all the way in the paint. And then he runs all the way up. And in that time, the Boston Celtics gets to read what's happening with the defense. I mean, with the offense. And so when Luka comes off of that pick, now Boston has a game plan because they've gone over their sets and they know what to do. If you, for example, have Kyrie bringing the ball up, and now Luka is coming off of a pick before he even catches the ball, and then they go into their pick and roll action, now the defense is moving more than it was before. Or another option would be start running high pick and roll with Kyrie Irving and see how Boston reacts to that. Do they play it the same way that they've been playing Luka Doncic? Does Kyrie start to get off a little bit? Does he open up the pass? Now, when they put 2 on the ball, the outlet pass is Luka Doncic, who then gets to play 4-on-3 on the weak side. On the weak side. So, maybe the Dallas Mavericks can add something like that into the fold to mix in with their high pick and roll that they run with the 5 guy and Luka. Because right now, if what we saw last night is any indication of anything, I could tell you this is very similar to how those 2 games in the regular season played out. And if they don't make some kind of shift with Luka Doncic specifically, then they're going to get I don't think this is going to be close, whether or not Kristaps Porzingis is playing great. Because ultimately, they're going to be able to limit those other guys if they're not forced to consistently put 2 on the ball on Luka Doncic. And that's why, ultimately, that's why I ended up saying Boston is going to win this series, because I think Boston has more adjustments that they can make as opposed to the Dallas Mavericks. Like, for example, the next game, maybe instead of Kristaps, we're going to see Jayson Tatum be the one to set some of those picks. Now you're going to have Josh Green on Jayson Tatum on that post up. Now you're going to see Kyrie Irving on that post up. He's going to get similar shots. He's going to get to the basket and try to get some foul calls. So I do expect, I expect the next game, I expect Game 2 to be much closer than Game 1. But I do expect the Boston Celtics to pull out a victory. I personally think the Boston Celtics' brain dead game is going to be either Game 3 or 4. I don't know which one yet, but I think their brain dead game is going to be Game 3 or Game 4, where they just look like their controllers get unplugged and they're just doing dumb shit on the floor. But I think Game 2 is really close. I think Luka has a much better game. Kyrie has a solid game. But I do think Boston will end up on top and defend home court. Because, like I said, I think they're just going to be a lot more confident. Luka's not going to get those calls. If it's a close game, I still think Boston takes the win. I'll be honest with you. What do you think, Elijah? If it's a close game in Game 2, who do you think wins? Because I personally think Boston still takes the game. And that makes it really tough for Dallas. That makes it really, really tough for Dallas. And I think that's why it goes 6 games, because I was contemplating 5, honestly. But I think they're gonna get one. They probably get like they get 2 on their home court, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, like I think their late game execution has been really, really exceptional. And so I expect Boston to pull out the win. Maybe I'll change my mind, but like I said, I think Boston's going to win game 2 and they're going to go up 2-0 and take a commanding lead in this series. I think they're just a better team. Overrated? I don't know if overrated is the right terminology. You know what I think it is? And I was thinking about this, Elijah. They were great against Minnesota, against like the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I know some motherfuckers gonna take this shit the wrong way. They were great, but I think some of it was just the Minnesota Timberwolves being really, really, really fucking bad against them. And still, 3 of those games were tight. And just like bonehead fucking plays that they were making. Just bonehead plays. And honestly, you know what I think this is too, Elijah? I don't know if you believe in this. Yep. And I think also down the stretch, and this is important, and I'll reference this to Carmelo Anthony on the Knicks, right? This is when role players are really important because there were a lot of games for the New York Knicks when Carmelo Anthony was there where he would hit 3 or 4 straight shots in the last 2 minutes of the game, 3 minutes, last minute of the game. And then he'll miss that one shot that puts them over the top. And I'm a big believer in the basketball gods. Right? Sometimes it feels as if those 3 shots or 4 shots were the only shots that Carmelo Anthony was supposed to make. And it's up to having great role players to throw in a shot in the middle of that stretch to now put the team over the top. Because I remember they used to kill Melo. Oh my God, he missed the shot. I'm like, motherfucker, he's 4 of 5 right now. It's not his fault. Right? And sometimes, like when it comes to those closing stretches, you need someone else. And I think when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks, Luka has a Kyrie Irving to lean on who makes those big shots down the stretch. We've seen PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr. make big shots down the stretch too. Yeah, I mean, like I just said to Elijah, people didn't give credit. There was like a huge mid-range shot that Derrick Jones Jr. hit in the Minnesota series, where the shot went sky high with like a minute left or something like that. PJ Washington in the OKC series hit some massive threes. So it hasn't just been Luka and Kyrie, even though they have made massive shots like they always do. But, they have another closer with them. If Kyrie's going, Luka's there. If Luka's going, Kyrie's there. But their other guys have also been a great support and have made big shots. And I was thinking about this the other day. Is this a situation where the Dallas Mavericks simply didn't get tested by another legitimate championship team, meaning a team that has championship experience? A lot of people wanted them to go against the Denver Nuggets. The more I think about it, the more I realize that the Minnesota Timberwolves got lucky. And I say that because of this. the basketball gods are a real thing, and I've always believed in that. Now, when Jamal Murray in game 2 through the heat pack, through the mouthpiece, whatever the fuck he did, and they only fined him $100,000 and did not suspend him a game, the way it bit them in the ass was your guys don't show up in game 7. Because had their guys shown up in game 7, there's a good chance the Minnesota Timberwolves don't even make it to the conference finals. And when you're talking about down the stretch, closing games out, now you have the Dallas Mavericks going up against 2 closers on the Denver Nuggets. Because we also know basketball is a game of matchups, right? Now, the Dallas Mavericks what if they ran into a team like the Denver Nuggets who have great down the stretch execution like they do, who have 2 stars like they do, who has one of the ultimate mismatches in Nikola Jokic, right? Maybe that would have prepared them better for Boston if they would have gotten through the Denver Nuggets. But here we are, right? Is that what's happening here? Is that what we're seeing? Now it makes me wonder, and obviously we'll have to see. We'll have to see as the series progresses, because obviously it's not over. It's a long series. But, you know, how would the Denver Nuggets have fared against the Boston Celtics? That's who a lot of people had going to the NBA Finals. But, you know, yeah, those are some of the things that I was just wondering about, because, like I said, not that these guys aren't great, but I just think that the Boston Celtics are more equipped for this situation. And I think we saw it last night. And I don't want to overreact, but I do think that the Boston Celtics are just better than the Dallas Mavericks. And we're going to see that over the course of the next couple weeks. But enough yapping for me for now. That'll do it. There was a lot of fucking basketball talk yesterday. I'll be back on Sunday to live react to the game. But I'm glad that the finals are here. I hate that I gotta wait fucking couple days. Honestly, I've been almost glad in the sense of like, dang, I don't gotta sit here and watch these games at night, because sometimes it really is exhausting. But now I'm sitting here like, fuck, I want to see what happens. So now I'm in that weird spot, because now I just can't wait till Sunday. But yeah, Boston Celtics win game 1. I think there's a good chance they take game 2. That's gonna do it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. Elijah, again, thank you for hanging out. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. It'll help the channel. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, because you could have been anywhere on the internet, but you're here with me, and I really appreciate you for that. Much love. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Have a great Friday. Have a beautiful weekend. Elijah, have a great weekend. I'll see you guys Sunday night for game 2. Thank you for watching.